Hey everybody, Adam-Wilber here with Volpine Creations. Thanks so much for being here. It is my honor today to introduce you to Jonas, or Jonas if you're American like myself. And he is on the Cups and Balls project. He's 17 years old, and mark my words, you are going to know who he is if you're in the Magic community, because his drive, creativity, and just passion for the art is astronomical. It's awesome. So I'm truly honored to have him part of the project. And without further ado, I'm going to pop him right up here. Jonas, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Adam, I'm fine. And you?
Good. Before we start, I'm going to blow your mind, okay? So here we go. Just before we start, perfect. Name any card in the deck.
We didn't prepare this. The Seven of Hearts, or yeah.
There you go. Oh, sorry. It was the Seven of Hearts. It dropped off screen, but it was the Seven of Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. One of these times I'll nail that. But I want to say personally, thank you for being a part of this project. It is, having your take on it and the fact that you added your own pieces to it and actually developed your own things for personalized load inserts. That's the exact reason that I love this project, because it isn't just, here's the trick, do it. And you took that and flipped it on its head. So I'm going to ask just a basic question to start. But before I do, I'd love for you to just give a brief introduction to anyone watching of who you are, sort of your quick story into Magic, what made you fall in love with it, and just let us know who you are and what we can look out for coming from you.
Yeah, so as Adam said, I'm Jonas. I'm 17 years old. I live in Belgium. And I started with Magic when I was about 10 or 11 years old, when I saw a magician on television. So I immediately fell in love with Magic, and especially with being creative. So I started creating my own stuff, and that's what I love to do, being as creative as possible, and don't just take a trick or something from another magician and really copy it. But I always try to do my own thing when I buy something or just create something from scratch. When I was 15, I wanted to go to Belgium's Got Talent, but there were some magicians over here who said maybe you should wait with that a little bit. So then when I was 14, so they said, yeah, you should wait a little bit. Maybe you should do the Belgian Championship of Magic first. So I did that when I was 14 years old. I arrived at second place over there, which was not bad.
Hold on 1 second. At 14-year-old, you got second place in the Championship of Magic in Belgium?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool.
But when I look back at it, the act was not very good at all. But, that's the thing about Magic and everything in life. You just keep improving. And yeah, I think that's what it's about. Just never always keep moving forward and keep improving and just love what you do. So when I was 14, of course, I was very disappointed that I didn't finish first. So I then started working, I think, immediately the day after the competition on my new act, which is my Lego act. You might have seen some pieces from it on my Instagram, or maybe something in this project, I'm not sure. So I started working on that the day after the competition. I worked on the act for 1 year. Then I went back to the Belgium Championship of Magic. But in there, I actually finished first in my category. But because of COVID and there were not a lot of competitors, they put all the categories together, which is why, again, I didn't have a proper first place. So it was really sad again. But I just said, like, I really have a nice act over here, which really has a personal story. So I just keep developing this act up until this day. And so that's when I was 16, I decided to really go to Belgium's Got Talent. So that's what I did last year. In the first act, I did some close-up. In the second round, I did some more stage type of act. And then in the final, I showed a small part of my Lego act. So I did made it to the final. So I was very happy about that.
Amazing.
Of course, it's not a Magic competition, so it's really hard to compare yourself to other performers, let's say. But the experience was so great, and those months of just having to work day and night on the routines, there were always deadlines. Those really forced my creativity so much. And I think I just learned so much about it, not only about performing on television and on stage, but also, as I said, about the creative process behind it, because there were like days that you had to come up with a new part of an act, and you only had like one night or 2 days or something. So I really learned a lot from that. So I was very happy to be able to do Belgium Got Talent. And afterwards, I was even more happier when you and Felix asked me to come on this project. So yeah,
Well,
so
we
happy.
were
This
thrilled.
year, yeah.
I mean, when we first met you, we started chatting and we started putting a list together of people that we'd love to have on it. And more so, diversity, right? We wanted a wide range. And one of the first people I said to Felix was, we got to get Jonas on this. And it was that that creative drive to do something different for, not so much to be different, but to do something different because you understand it's the only way you can be your truest version on stage, right? If I'm copying something someone else did, I might make it my own, but to really put my heart and soul into it, it's got to come from my heart and soul.
Exactly.
I love that that's your approach.
Yeah.
It's going to take you very
Exactly.
far. I know that for a fact. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's what I always try to do, especially now I'm working on my first theater show. So that's also very nice. And that's also what I try to do now. Mostly when I start creating for this show, I mostly start with a personal story of mine and then try to, yeah, sort of transform it into a magic act. But that makes it so that it's very personal, first of all. It has a great story, so the people get to know you better. I think this is just great when you can do personal stuff. There's, of course, you can do, for example, in close-up. I also do this, just pick a card and this and this and that happens. That's real great. But I think when you can add some meaning to any sort of magic, that's what I try to do with the cups and beans. When I was getting back from holidays, I wrote a script and I just constantly repeated it to myself for 14 hours until I knew it, and then the day after started filming. But it's the same thing with your grandfather's spinning top. I think when you add a personal story, it just really makes the magic so much more beautiful and meaningful for the audience. And that's what I try to do. And
right? The best teachers in the world, best educators, entertainers, politicians connect through story. It's much easier.
Exactly.
A mentor of mine said, I'm going to butcher this, but it was a really good illustration of this idea that story can be more impactful. So for instance, walking out on stage and saying, I had an accident last week. I stabbed myself in the hand. It sucked and it hurt. Instead of that, saying, I want everyone to take your hand, your left hand, and put it right in front of you. And imagine in your right hand is a 6-inch serrated steak knife. It's got a wooden handle on it, and you're holding it like this in your right hand, and you're staring at your left hand. And now I want you to slowly put just the tip on the palm of your hand, and now really, really push hard. You're so much more, like, I can feel that pain, right? As opposed to just hearing it. So the idea that you start developing your theater show with the story first and then the magic secondary, that's very different. Most people do the exact opposite. Most people pick the effects that they like and then figure out maybe how I can tie a story into it. So it's really interesting that you look at it from the other side, as if I can get my story across, I'll find a trick that can supplement the story, but I need the story to be more impactful. I think that's a really smart thing, especially for a performer as young as you, to realize if you're really trying to be unique and make an impact as a person on stage and not be a carbon copy, starting with story is something that most entertainers do the opposite of their whole life and can't really ever change out of that. It's usually, that's a cool trick, I'll put my story to it. So my hat's off to you for seeing that and noticing if I start with a story, I can pair a trick with it. I think that's a really mature way to approach a show.
Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, I also watched one of your videos with you and Felix on the book. I think those were like the book videos you guys do on YouTube. Yes, and you guys recommended the book of Judith Carter.
You, something like that.
The story of you. Yes, message of you. That was, yeah. So I bought this book and I'm reading it right now. And this is just so. Of course, I want to say thank you to you for recommending the book, because I love it so much. And this book also really, really inspired me so much, because it also tells you to start from the story, but also use this story to spread a message to your audience. So that's what I love to do. Like, we're in an entertainment business, of course entertaining is very important, but I think if you can um, get a message across to the audience, over to the audience, and really sort of inspire them or motivate them or anything, just so that they don't only watch the show and after, when the lights go off, the show is done. But what I would love is that you can really show them something that they can take home with them, so they can take home the message or something. They keep thinking about it, or maybe a year later, or some months later, I don't know, but the people are going to, if they really get something out of your show, I think that's the biggest compliment, and that must be your goal for a show.
I think that's
so.
great. That's spot on. You know, there's a saying that goes, at an event, people won't remember the food, they won't remember the music, they won't remember the atmosphere. The one thing they will remember is how you made them feel, right?
Yeah, the feelings.
If we can entertain, cool, they'll remember that as part of the atmosphere, right? You're a great entertainer, so they might a year later go, man, that was cool. There was some great atmosphere at that wedding. But if you then tie a message or something, like you said, motivational, inspirational, thought-provoking, conversational, anything, that's something that they'll latch on to memory bank wise, right? And they'll go, oh man, at that wedding, I remember almost tearing up because that guy on stage drew it. That, to me, that's it, right? That's the point. We can go do Ambitious Card and be called the greatest magician in the world. Go find a lay audience and do a decent Ambitious Card and they'll say, you're the best I've ever seen. If that's the goal and your goal is to be that, right? Easy. That's really pretty simple. If your goal is to make an impact on people's lives, 10 years ago, if you said, oh, as a magician, you can impact people for the rest of their lives, I probably would have said, cool, maybe a couple can. And then throughout time, realizing anybody can. And regardless, you don't even have to be a magician. But the fact that you can articulate a story of your struggles that you've overcome, whoever's facing those struggles themselves, your story becomes their hope mission, right? So I'll take alcoholics for an example. Alcoholics, once they get sober, a main part of keeping them sober is helping other alcoholics through saying, I've been there, right? Those are the things that last a lifetime. And what's stopping us from even being a goofy, lighthearted, or funny entertainer, but ending on something like that, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people that you'll remember for life. So again, the fact that you're 17 years old already thinking like that, when I said it at the beginning, the magic community is going to know who you are. I mean that wholeheartedly. If you keep doing what you want to be doing and stay true to yourself the way you have been, the sky is quite literally the limit for you, dude. So I'm just excited to know you and watch your journey.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, and something else I just wanted to share, because this is something I learned from doing Belgium's Got Talent. I really learned that life is really about the experiences. It's not only about the outcome. It's about really doing as much as possible. Like, also for magic, if you want to put meaning into your act, I think you can only put meaning in your act when you have really experienced a lot of things. So I think this is very important to don't only do certain things or things you have to do, or I don't know, just go travel, take some risks in life. For example, if you're not really sure about, let's say, going to a television show as Belgium's Got Talent, or going to a magic competition, I would say, why not just try it? You've got nothing to lose. Of course, on television, you don't have to embarrass yourself. But I think, in my opinion, the more experience you have, the more, the bigger your message is that you can bring over to your audience. So if there's anything,
You want to be, if you want to be interesting on stage, be interesting in life. How do you be interesting in life? Do more stuff.
Yeah.
Read more. Ask people questions, right? Be open to learning.
Be curious. Yeah.
Exactly. Never stop being curious. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to transition the talk here a little bit, and I want to talk about cups and balls. So specifically,
I think it perfectly fits into what we're talking about, because
absolutely,
this project is so amazing. I think this is, as you said earlier, some magicians take an effect and they try to tie a story into it, or they try to combine it with a story. But you can also start from the story and then bring magic to it. But I think this project is so great because there are so many stories that can work with this. Of course, you can talk about connecting with people. You can talk about so much. So I think this is a perfect transition to the cups and beans, because this project is so great. I absolutely love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It is I'm very proud of it. It's definitely the thing I'm the most proud of,
Yeah.
besides my children. But I want to ask you, is Cups and Balls prior to this project something that you were intrigued by, interested in, or currently doing? And if so, what is it that excites you about the Cups and Balls? What do you think it is that makes that such a stapled classic in our repertoire as magicians? There's very few, right? There's the linking rings, the Cups and Balls, but it is sort of that iconic thing. So is that something you've done already prior to this project? And if so, what are your sort of thoughts about it? Like, what is it that's so appealing to both the lay audience and the magicians in general?
Yeah, so first of all, I should say that I have never performed the cups and balls in a paid show before. Yeah, first of all, as I said, because talking about stories, the cups and balls for me weren't something that really connected to me, to myself, to my story that I wanted to bring, that I wanted to share with the audience. So personally, I haven't done the cups and balls in paid shows before. I have seen some great cups and balls performances before. I saw a theater show in Belgium over here where someone did the cups and balls with a personal story. It was sort of the version that David Regal also does.
Yep.
With
Brilliant.
the nice cups, and
Really
underneath
brilliant.
then at the end you can produce like the small cups. Like, this is how I started in magic. So I really love that story. But for me, as I said, I always want to do something original.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love this, and that was something I was like, okay, wow, this is great. This routine it's amazing. I can just go and do this. But again, I didn't want to copy anyone, so I just worked on it a little bit. In my notebooks, I have tons of ideas on cups and balls, also like some crazy cups and stuff like that. I'll show it all to you later, Adam.
Awesome.
But working on this project right now, it really meant so much to me, because I saw that this, like, of course, the cups from earlier, they were like brass cups, and you always had to motivate why you had them, or you, like, 99% of the stories were like, this is something I started with, or this is something every magician does. But now with this, I think this is so great, because everyone uses this every morning, or you can just tie so many stories to those cups, to those coffee beans, and that's why I really love this project so much. And as I said to you, Adam, this is going to be something that will be in my theater show and probably in all of my paid shows from now. So,
well, then that sounds like a perfect excuse for me to have to fly to Belgium to watch you perform it when you're doing your theater show then, huh?
Exactly, yeah, you're more than welcome.
That would be amazing. Well, I mean, again, the whole idea was quite, this is something that I've had an idea of for over 10 years. And the whole theme was initially the understanding that there are a few things in my life that the deepest, okay, so either I was in the worst spot in my life and I needed guidance. I needed somebody besides God, which I would talk to on my own, but somebody tangible that I could touch to talk to get me out of something, or some of the best times in my life. A friend I haven't seen in 10 years, and they all seem to be gathered around a few different things. I live in the woods, so it was either campfires, kind of being around a campfire or a bonfire, having these really deep, meaningful conversations while I'm performing magic, or in my circle of magic friends. I can have those, or over a cup of coffee, right? And specifically, some of the darkest times of my life, some of the light shone through having conversations with people over coffee. So the idea 10 years ago was this: coffee is really this universal tool that brings people together. Now, we can drink it ourselves in the morning and start our day, but really it's like, hey, I got something to tell you. Hey, sit down. I'm gonna put some coffee on and let's have a chat. That idea is so in tune with what magic is for me, right? What are we gonna do? We're gonna sit down, take a break from life for a minute, forget about stuff, and be in the moment with this right here, just you and me in this conversation. And the coffee's going to help to stimulate our mind and keep us there. Magic's the same thing, right? It's like, look, I get it. Outside world is outside world. But in this little fairy tale that we're building right now together, it's just us. And I think the best magicians in the world can do that, where once the show's over, the audience is like, oh my God, I forgot we were in a magic show. Like, whoa. So the theme has always been this idea of togetherness. And then, you know, throughout the process, it became bigger and better, and it will always grow. And it, you know, people like you and playing with it and putting advancements into it, it's first and foremost the idea of, like you said, I don't have to come out and explain why I'm using a bright silver cup that no one's really ever seen before, right? And
you can start with a story, as you said in the beginning of this talk. Yeah.
If you are, you're right. 90% of them out there are, let me tell you the history of magic. This is the oldest magic trick in the world on hieroglyphics, and then it's like, we get it, but that's almost like we're forced into that presentation to justify the thing, right?
Yeah, that's a really great way of saying it. It's sort of, it feels like forced, and now instead of starting by explaining and sort of motivating all those weird things you're using, no, you can really start first by focusing on the connection between you and the audience, and because they know this, and then you can use props, everyday props, to create miracles. And listening to the way you're talking about this, I mean, it's so great to hear how passionate you are about those cups. And I think that's something I just wanted to say to everyone listening to this. That's why I really advise you to create your own stuff, because look at Adam when he's talking about this. You see, this is his heart, his soul went into this project. He's worked so long on this, and now you see how happy he is, how happy you are when you can finally do this, and you feel the passion. And that's also the great thing when you create something yourself, develop it, no matter how many hours go into it or how many days or years, doesn't matter. But when you're able to perform this for the first time, the response, when you see those happy faces in the audience, then yeah.
And they feed off
the most amazing feeling.
They know, right? It's an unspoken.
They feel it.
100%. Now, great actors can fake that, right? They can, but the truth of the matter is almost every magician who performs isn't a great actor. That's not what we studied. Some have, but to get passionate about something that truly isn't yours or from your heart takes a very hard skill, right? That's a really professional actor can do that. So why not skip all that and just come from the heart? You know, like you said, I gave you the cups and balls and you could have said, great, this is how Adam does it, that's how I'll do it. But you said, no, I spent 14 hours rewriting this from my heart. And if you watch, anyone who's watching this, if you have the project, watch his performance. Like, you can't help but fall in love with the character you're watching because you can see the genuineness of it. And that, I think, is what, if you can connect genuineness and passion to a message that betters somebody's life and then sprinkle magic on top of it, there's not another form of art that I think can compete with that, right? It's just, we have such an advantage, and a lot of us don't, myself included, don't take full advantage of it, right? The authenticity and the idea of the passion coming from you creating it does not mean you have to go create your own piece of magic. Buy something you like and then put your story to it. So, and
your story, your experiences, yeah.
Exactly.
While listening to you earlier, I just got a little idea, but I'm just going to say it because otherwise I'm going to forget it. But as I know, you had some problems earlier with alcohol, right? But you have seen my video, right? My performance. So I just couldn't stop thinking about the fact that maybe you could start with a shot glass of alcohol, maybe for you. Make that vanish or change into the coffee bean.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you end with the coffee.
Sure.
Just a little idea I had. Funny enough, can be a very, very nice personal story for you. Maybe. I
have
just an idea.
Yeah, I've got a couple things that I do script about the alcoholism. It's like anything. You got to know your audience and know where to play it. But I was talking, just jamming with Lloyd Barnes and on his live and the idea of this came up, which is now going to be part of it. So imagine you do this. Okay. The end effect would be as such. You've finished the cups and balls, you've got the coffee bean explosions, and now at the very end, you're holding the cup upside down, and you look at an audience member and say, this whole thing's been about coffee and me. What's your favorite drink? And whatever drink they name now gets poured out of the coffee cup, right? Yeah, and then you give it to them. It's like there you go. So that's actually a very simple.
That's a great idea.
A little bit of pre-show or a million other ways, but
yeah,
just again that's what I mean. This idea that this is this never-ending. It's taking something that it gives the ability. Now I get it. Some people love that classic metal and cool. I get it. I mean, I have 30 sets.
It's a different style as well, but I think this is the only project that I've ever bought where I really thought to myself, I can use this in so many different ways. It's incredible. Awesome. So I really want to say thank you to you and Felix for really putting the work in. I know it's been a very long road to this, but being able now to see the magic world use this, and I'm sure that everyone that's going to open the box is going to be just as excited as I am and as I was when I opened the box, because you can tie so many stories, so many things into this. For example, in my theater show, this is sort of continuing a running gag. In my act, I'm just going to give you the idea. In the beginning somewhere, I do a wine glass production.
Cool.
A full wine glass, so with some red liquid inside. Then during the bits, I drink it, so it's empty. And then I have my version of the ring watch wallet, which talks about me when I was in, how do you call it? Not like high school, but
grade school.
Before that, grade school. So I was actually really bullied over there. So this is a story that talks about that, about me being bullied over there and what they did to me and everything like that. But it's sort of my version of the ring watch wallet. And at the end, so basically the idea is I have like this little coffee cup, this paper cup. And there's a lot more going on, but I just toss everything inside, like the watch and all my stuff. And at the end, I talk about what magic was for me. And this is real, because magic for me was a way to escape from reality. So it was a world where everything was possible. And I could really use my imagination. And at this point, I pour out the entire paper cup into the wine glass, and it's a cup full of coffee. So I say, this was a world of imagination where they didn't have any of my stuff. They didn't bully me. The only thing they had was only coffee. And then I tear the cup, toss it in the audience. So this is the first time I do it. But later on, I do, for example, I'm still working on my act, but what you can do is what I used to do was Scott Alexander's egg bag.
Yeah.
Where you end with the shot glass production.
Yeah.
So the idea is I end with the shot glass production, the same red liquid from the beginning. And then I put the empty shot glass when I drink it on the table. And now, when you end the cups and beans, pour all the coffee into there, and sort of like, it's not really a gag,
full circle. Yeah,
it's a full circle, right? Yeah, because you first start with the wine, red liquid coffee, again, red liquid Beautiful. Coffee in a smaller glass. So
beautiful.
That's just some of the ways you can be very creative with this. As I said, when someone is going to do this in a show, you can produce the shot glass, as I know you do, or you can have it in play from earlier and drink from it, and you can really play with this project, and that's what I love so much about it. And
you got to make sure you let me know in plenty of time advance when your theater show is, because I'll find a reason to get to Belgium so I can see it. I really do want to see that. I got to be in the front row so I can heckle you and say, it's in his other hand while you're performing. I really would love it.
Then you're going to get coffee beans to toss to your head.
Well, hey, Jonas, I want to say thank you again, man. First for being on the project, but more importantly for being
thank you so much.
Just being such a bright light in magic. I know it's probably hard for you to see yourself as bright as you are, but from someone who's been in this world for a long time, you've got a very, very special kind of energy, and I can't wait to see what it turns into throughout your career. So thank you from Felix and myself for being a part of this project. And anyone who wants to follow you or keep up with what you're doing, what's the best place for them to do that?
I think, internationally, the best thing is in today's world, Instagram. So I have my Instagram account. It's DE _ my last name
Well, in edit, we're gonna go ahead and just put it right under him right
we can
there.
just,
So
yeah.
make
That
sure
might be
you
easier
follow
than
what.
trying to say it in English.
Just there'll be a little tag under here. Make sure you follow him and support what he's doing. If you're a fan of Magic, you will be a fan of what he's doing. So again, thank you so much for your time and for being here and part of this project. It's been an honor, my friend.
Thank you so much. And also, one of the reasons I'm working on this project, and one of the reasons I did Belgium's Got Talent, and for everything I'm saying, is because all of the inspiration sources you have during your journey into Magic. So I think it's really important to look at many different performers. And for me, a very big source of inspiration was you, Adam. So thank you so much for everything that you've shared with the Magic world. And like, also, I know I've noticed that not a lot of people actually watch all of those videos, but you're putting a lot of them on YouTube. So everyone that's watching this, please watch all of the videos afterwards, because the advice is golden.
Well, thank you.
It's amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for everything you've shared.
And thank you. You know, we're just scratching the surface of where your journey is going to take you. And like I said, anytime along the way, if anything I can do to help, I'm a phone call away. So again, thank you. And if you guys are watching this and haven't picked up the Cups and Balls yet, you're missing out on one of the most clever performances I've seen of it.
Take them.
It's my project, and he outshone me. So look, let me put it to you this way. There's 4 languages he speaks in his presentation. I'll leave it at that. The rest is up to you. So again, Jonas, thank you very much for being here, and it's been an honor. We'll see you on the next one, my friends. Until next time.